Hey folks, this is Kelani. We're back on the patch 7.3 PTR to have a look at another new feature coming with the patch, Invasion Points. This is a new type of content which takes exploring the universe one step further. The Legion has many active portals to other worlds besides Azeroth, and Illidan seems to think it would be a good idea to go through these portals and stop the Legion on as many other worlds as possible. Personally, I think the Legion spreading their forces then would be a good thing for us, but I guess we'll just have to listen to the special Light and Shadow guy. The introduction to Invasion Points is kind of blunt. There's portals out there and we need to close them. Cool. The portals will be active more or less as soon as you step foot onto Argus, unless the questing changes later on and they get locked behind some weird time gate. But for now you can pop down to Argus straight away and hop through a portal to a variety of other worlds. The ones we currently have access to are the Invasion Points Blood, Fire, Forest, Ice, Islands, and Marsh. To get to them, you just need to make your way over to the green portals that you can see on your map and right-click on the portal when you get there. You'll be queued into a scenario, so it looks like we'll be using the scenario tech again, and hopefully you'll get matched with some other players. I assume, because this is PTR, it just sort of throws you in there and says good luck. Only one of the invasion points I tested queued me in with another player, and even then they were still extremely difficult. They seem to be scaled for at least 5 players, or maybe even more. You can apparently queue up with a raid and get them done very easily, but I assume when this goes live it will be for 5 players and restricted to just 5. I had to solo quite a lot of these, which was no easy feat. Some of these invasion points are harsh and very unforgiving. Some of them even had pointedly overpowered monsters which you had to avoid at all costs. What's really nice about the worlds we're visiting is that they're all distinctly different, but I can't help but compare the environments with places on Azeroth. Obviously, they're using the same textures as similar environments that we've already explored on Azeroth, so they're going to look similar. It just doesn't feel very alien or otherworldly to me. It's like we're going to a small pocket of Azeroth somewhere else. Each scenario seems to consist of 3 stages. In the Blood Invasion Point, the Legion are siphoning the blood of a living world or something very big that's living just under the surface. You need to destroy their blood-sucking machines, then kill a whole bunch of Legion demons, and finally you face off against a boss. In the Forest Invasion, you start by killing off Legion demons, then you have to kill specific Legion demons, and then move on to the boss, and the Marsh Invasion follows pretty much the same idea. Kill off the Legion demons, kill off specific demons, while avoiding the huge marsh monsters that one-shot you, and then finish off with a boss. They all seem to be the same kind of scenario and the same kind of gameplay, which is honestly a little boring right now, but this is a very early preview of a system, so a lot can change between now and when it hits live servers. It's interesting to note that the bosses you face aren't actually tied to the invasion point. It's a random choice from a small pool of different bosses. I think the reason for this is that there seems to be less bosses than there are actual different invasion points, so there has to be some overlap somewhere, and I guess it makes it a little less weird if it's just a random choice rather than one boss popping up in the forest and fire invasion points and none of the others. I'm not sure. I think I would have preferred more bosses and to have each invasion point unique, just to give it a bit more flavour and separate the experience from other invasion points. It's all a little too samey right now. Now, as for difficulty, these things were hard to get through. Soloing some of them took me over an hour, just because the combination of what you're required to do and the actual difficulty of the mobs inside the invasion point make it take quite a bit longer than it probably should. And obviously I was alone in content which expects you to have 5 people. Some of the more annoying problems I faced were monsters respawning like 2 minutes after I killed them. I literally couldn't progress into some of the invasion points physically because I would end up getting blocked in by monster respawns. So because it only really needs progress for you to kill a bunch of monsters, most of them I just hung around the edges of the mobs, took out a pack and started on another, and usually by the time I killed the second pack the first had respawned, so I just went back and forth. The monsters respawning made some of the bosses infuriatingly difficult, because I just didn't have space to kite or dodge abilities. I thought, hey, if I had 5 people in here we'd probably be progressing much faster so the respawn wouldn't feel as quick. But if the respawn rate stays as it is, you'll still get a bunch of monsters appearing right on your face halfway through a boss encounter, guaranteed. One of the more hilarious invasion points for this was the Ice Invasion point. The second stage requires you to free a whole bunch of demon hunters from ice prisons. Meanwhile, every monster in the entire scenario aggroes directly onto you, and they also respawn very quickly. So you end up with 10 plus monsters chasing you while you try to free all the demon hunters, and even if you kill one, it respawns at the other end of the scenario, and it just happily runs right on over to continue its previous assault. I hope a few of these issues are just the scenarios not being tuned properly and it's a case of early implementation, so I would expect them to change at least a little bit and be a little bit easier, especially if you have a full party. When it comes to exploration, we don't really get to go far. We're confined to a pretty small section of what I assume is an entire world, but each location seems to be fairly important because that's where the Legion is deciding to strike. I think it's a little bit of a shame that we're restricted so much in what we actually get to see of these brand new worlds, and I expect the invasion point to get kind of old pretty quickly, as we'll be doing the same thing over and over again in the exact same place of each world. But I hope this system is opened up and is expanded upon to allow us to explore some of the other areas of these worlds and maybe even meet some of the races who occupy them. We don't really get to see any new monsters or races at all. Most of them are just occupied by the Legion, and if there are different enemies from the Legion, they're ones that we've already seen plenty of times before on Azeroth. Meeting new races and exploring new worlds could be really cool and exciting, though not really the first thing you think about when you say World of Warcraft. Things are getting a little too techy and spacey. We're almost playing World of StarCraft. The main thing that concerns or confuses me with invasion points is what we actually get from doing them. As I said earlier, you start off with a quest to go finish an invasion point, and that actually leads to another quest to collect Argus Waystones. Completing the first invasion supposedly gave you 10 of these Argus Waystones to get you started, and the quest wants you to collect 50 total. So, one invasion point is supposed to give you 10 Argus Waystones, but none of the invasion points that I've done after the first quest has given me anything at all. No Argus Waystones, no loot, even off the monsters I kill, and no end scenario rewards. Obviously they haven't been implemented yet, and I would fully expect this content to reward something. I just have no idea what that something is right now, or whether it will be special at all. These Argus Waystones are probably the best clue we have. They're a currency and stack up to 100. When you hover over them, it says, used by the minions of Sargeras to force open portals from Argus to other Legion-controlled worlds. That kinda sounds like we need these stones to open portals, but the portals are already open and we get the Waystones from completing the invasion points, so maybe we can open different portals, or better portals, stronger portals? Is this really going to be a copy-paste feature from Diablo 3 in that we get more challenging scenarios over and over for better loot or rewards? I'm not sure that's going to be the case, as we basically already have that system with the Mythic Plus. So they might be used as a new currency for purchasing goods or rewards, maybe a new gear catch-up mechanic to replace nether shards in the Broken Shore, but I haven't been able to find a vendor or any real use for the Waystones as a currency, so I guess the rewards from this feature is a big old question mark for now, and we'll just have to wait and see. But that's a quick preview of the new invasion point system coming to Legion with patch 7.3. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comments section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Or hop on over to Discord. We have a server at discord.gg/Kelani. Great place to come ask questions or just hang out. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.